Golf's no different from hockey. Requires talent, self-discipline.
Golf requires goofy pants and a fat ass. You should talk to my neighbor, the accountant, probably a great golfer, huge ass.
How do you measure yourself with other golfers? By height.
It's a very, very special honor.
I'm Paula Creamer, and you're listening.
Well, we're waiting.
Hi, this is Martin Cove, a.k.a. John Kreese from Cobra Kai, and you're listening to
Quiet, Please.
Let the word go out from here across the land. Let Daddy Noonan approve.
Hi, boys. Nice day for golf, eh? Quiet, please. Oh, you got secrets, eh?
Hey, this is Shooter McGavin. You're listening to the...
Hey, you guys. Hey, we're trying to have a podcast over here.
Welcome once again, golfers everywhere. I'm Alan DePew. I am one of your co-hosts here on Quiet Please Golf Podcast. And here in our virtual studio, I'm joined around the United States by some of the brightest minds in golf as we talk about the men and women that are shaping the game, win the latest news, and share a few stories, little laughs, little updates on things that we're hearing in the golf community. But most importantly, we're streaming on YouTube. We're streaming on Facebook. As well as Instagram. You'll also hear us on our podcast, wherever you happen to enjoy podcasting. And we like your interaction. We'll talk more about what you can win from that. And as I alluded to them, here they are, the ever-present one. Don't be that guy, Andy Hydorn.
Good afternoon, evening.
Good afternoon and evening to you. We are recording and live on a different day. Little curveball this week there, Andy Hydorn. Hailing from the Boston market, but now by way of Bourbon Country. Boston Bob, Bourbon Baldessari.
In the same unicolors as you, my friend, tonight?
Well, some of us did get the memo.
We look good. We look good in purple.
We look really good in purple.
Yeah.
And you see his name everywhere. That's it. That's the introduction. He is everywhere.
Omnipresent.
He is a columnist. He is an instructor. He is BE, Brendan Elliott.
Good evening.
He is Stuart Sink.
He is Stuart Sink.
Hey, as I mentioned, guys, again, we love to have the fan interaction. So please, anyone on one of those channels, go ahead and chime in, shoot some questions. It'll pop up down here on the screen. Instagram, not so much. I always have to check over when that goes live. But hey, I'll keep an eye on that. But we like to hear your thoughts because Andy Hydorn, I know this is shocking, said cliffhanger. We had a whole new topic to discuss, and it wasn't good. I tried to squeeze it in 5 minutes, Bobby. I did.
Right.
I just kind of cursed over it, but no. Mr. TikTok, Andy Hydorn, said this requires nearly an entire show. BE jumped in, and anyone that knows me knows that golf instruction, well, clearly I haven't had any. So
not true.
I can't speak intelligently about the things I don't know about. But Andy, something happened, a seismic shift in the force.
Yeah, look, a couple weeks ago, and I know it's been a couple weeks now, but Azinger came out and was interviewed and basically said that golf instruction is getting out of hand, was his quote. And I think it stirred up the hornet's nest for a lot of people. And I think people are not quite all on the same page as far as understanding what he was trying to say. But I think it's a great topic, and I think there's definitely both sides to this story that we should dig into a little bit here.
Definitely.
Do you have the quote? Who has the exact quote? What did he say?
I just said it. He said golf instruction is getting out of hand.
Oh, that was it.
And that was
all this brouhaha. I'd even known that for years.
that was more the title of the interview. He talked for quite a while about a whole host of topics, but I rewatched that particular portion where he was talking about that topic, and there's a lot of stuff that I like that he said, you know, and it basically boils down to there's so much information out there, and he just kind of leans back, and he's old school, and he kept talking about being old school, and anybody that knows his story of how he could barely break 80 playing in college, and then he kind of reinvented his game on his own terms, and you know, he's got the strong grip, and he's got a unique swing, and he said that you could put, even today with all the technology and number driven and everything, you could put a bag on top of every golfer on a tour event's head up and down the line, and we still would know whose swing is who for the most part. And to me, that proves that, you know, I brought out some of my favorites, the Little Red Book, and this is the book I learned from, Practical Golf, John Jacobs. That's what my dad gave me when I was a kid, and it's old school. And I think all that stuff is tried and true. You could use that as a coach today to help your students play the best golf of their life. Now, on the flip side, and then I'll turn this over to BB because I know he's got stuff to say. I still like the technology of today too, but the numbers and the data is only as good as how you use it as a coach or how a student uses it. And that's it. That's all that stuff is. It's to support what we do and what we've done for 100 years in golf coaching.
Yep. Okay. Deep breath, and I'm going to go here because I've got the 1 foot in the old school with my dad, who's a PGA member, growing up around that era. I've got a foot clearly with my reimagined golf, technology driven to whatever degree or innovation these days. But there's never been a time where there's so much information for golf available. There's never been a time where that information doesn't get digested properly by people that are looking for the right source of information to fix themselves. That's my phrase I'll use. People just don't know what the heck they're doing in the golf swing. So they don't know what training aid, what swing thoughts, so what anything to fix themselves. Tour players don't know that. There's lots of studies on the tour player can feel the swing. They don't have a clue at times. You know, maybe Tiger, maybe it's a rare person that really can feel everything in the swing, what's going on. The average golfer doesn't have a clue. Sorry for the harsh truth, but there's swing training aids. Brent and I, we teach, you know, when Alan was there, Andy, you've seen that. People are using things going, well, oh, here's, you know, Andy uses it, so I want to use it because I want to get as good as Andy. What could be the worst thing forever for me because I'm doing something different than Andy? You know, recreational golfers over time getting better. What is it? I don't know, 5, 10, 12% of golfers take lessons. Yep. You would think that would be higher because you've got a professional LPGA or PGA professional or a really good instructor that can help them. I'll pause here. I really could go on and on because I've battled this on the front line with golfers that come in and I want to swing like this tour player. You physically don't have a clue.
I do want to be as good as Andy Hydorn.
We all do.
Let's establish that right out of the gate. More importantly, but the information technology battle, content creation it's out of control. It's the new world we live in. But golfers seeking and refinement, enhancement, looking at ways that's been decades in the process. I can distinctly remember, it's actually, Bobby, where you and I met. I was at Goose Creek still at that time. I had a customer come to me, wanted to talk about leg drive. He had just read about leg drive in Golf Digest. And what he did next looked like the old David Rummels throw the knees at the target, and there was no turn whatsoever. And I asked him,
David Rummels. Now there's a name from the
That's a throwback.
Yeah. Let me take you back to there. So I'm like, what was that? Leg drive. So Andy Hydorn, who I wish to be a golfer as good as you, I mean, is it the content or is it the just erroneous content? Because BE held up a lot of really good books. You saw me glancing because I'm like, yeah, I got that one. And I got that one. I got that one.
You want to see my collection?
Yeah, mine's behind me too. But let me throw a little context on the Azinger thing too. As a lot of people know, Azinger had a super strong grip.
Yep.
His left hand was strong. His right hand was even stronger. Like definitely an unorthodox professional way of holding the club. His teacher was a guy named John Redman. And one of my good friends this day, who was my college teammate, is a guy named Tom Kirby from Brooksville, Florida. And Tom Kirby may be the only good player I've ever seen have a stronger grip than Paul Azinger. But Tom Kirby also went to see John Redman as his instructor. But I think the interesting thing is when you start to stray from like your textbook stuff, in the strive for perfection, if you will, you're somebody like Azinger, you're not going to be into the data. You're not going to be into the numbers like all the clone golf swings are, right? Like he was more about, putting his hands on the club, whatever way felt good, and figuring out how to move his body based on how he was holding the club. And I think John Redman was the perfect teacher for him to teach feel and teach, a very specific way for Paul Azinger and my buddy Tom Kirby to play golf.
But Andy, isn't that what's been lost? Is the uniqueness of? I mean, we just, God rest his soul, rest in peace. The grip.
Yeah.
Ed Fiore passes away this week, and I mean, here's a guy who took down Tiger, chased him down, and beat him. I mean, you got Azinger, you've got. Even Hal Sutton wasn't on you. It wasn't until I
all of them. Lee Trevino.
Everybody.
I personally say it was Davis Love, where the robot mentality, the structured way of the swing came into being.
I'll say Nick Faldo, but we can argue offline on that.
I can make that. I got that book on my shelf also.
Yeah.
Well, it goes back to what Bobby was saying. It's all about and Andy. It's matchups. It's matchups with how you hold the club, how you deliver the club face because of how you hold the club, your body types. I mean, and one thing I remember when I was a kid is talking about tempo. Nick Price was an example we always used to use on swinging like you do everything else in your life. If you walk fast and talk fast, you should probably have a quick tempo, because if you try to do the opposite, it's not going to work. And for a lot of people, that fitting into that robotic mold of the Adam Scotts or the Nick Faldos or the Davis Loves, that's not good either. But that's where you need to start. And that's kind of where I start with everybody, and then deconstruct from there and work with what they have.
Yeah, and I think mostly what Azinger was talking about were the guys that go out with their TrackMans and their quads, and they're out there, measuring the data on every shot that they take, right? I saw Bryson at the U.S. Open at Brookline a couple years ago. He's got his foresight on the range. Obviously, a lot of guys do that. He's got a guy that he pays to follow him on the golf course in his practice rounds, and he records every shot that he takes, right? So you start getting into things like attack angle and spin loft and all of these things. And I think what Azinger was saying is people are way more hyper-focused on the data as players.
Right.
And that becomes problematic. I think where some of the instructors got their panties in a wad is that this data for instructors is hugely important, because they learn more about the do's and the don'ts and the causes and effects of why a golf ball, travels the way it does. So I think there's a little bit of a not a misunderstanding, but a splitting of the hairs of, being on one side or the other of the argument, because I think Azinger again was saying that the players are too hyper focused on it. In return, some of their coaches allow that to happen, but and again, the data is so important to people learning how to coach. We talked about Greg Rose and TPI a couple weeks ago and how he's become so damn good at what he does because he sees data, right? So it's an interesting topic that definitely has two sides to the argument.
Mm-hmm.
I love this subject. I could go on and on. And I've seen it, well, obviously my role with PGA America Youth Golf, but before that, when I was at Cannon Ridge Golf Club in Fredericksburg, Virginia, we hosted an AJJ event. And I had a couple other junior events there too. I always had PGA Junior Series, whatever it was. So got some pretty good golfers. That AJJ event, I was struck, and I've talked to Jim McClain about this and some of the top instructors, Joe Hallett. And I said, I'm watching these parents, to your point, Andy, with Bryson, these parents won't let their kid make a golf swing without getting it on tape. Then they're going to analyze it. And I said, Jim, I can make the case of a kid starting bogey, 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 and not hitting a bad shot. And what's that kid going to do on the fourth tee? Pick up his phone and call his coach? These kids are so tied to, and golfers in general, I think, the drive for perfection, and it's not really going to exist. And there's always been the range swing and taking it to the course, but I think it's getting out of hand now. And give me somebody that doesn't look so good with the perfect swing, but can get it in the damn hole and can do it under pressure. Like that's where you're going to separate it. We all know good swingers. I don't mean it the wrong way.
Yeah.
Golfers. Yeah. But swinging the club, but
good club swingers.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not that either. So.
Yeah. Well,
our Gen Z, Joe Benesh, chimes in. I don't exactly know what those little emojis are supposed to be, other than he's trying to learn. He's here. He's trying to learn. But here's a guy, D2 golfer, smokes it, hits it a long ways. All about the smash factor. I'm going to call him out. Mr. Smash has to get to the left side. Focuses hard on getting to the left side because everybody at his level has got to have 190 ball speed. Problem is arms like me hit a few bad shots and try and change fields on the golf course rather than sticking to something the whole time.
Yes.
So I think that was Brendan. I think you said it. Like learning how to or Bob, you said it actually. The fourth tee after the guy hits all the perfect shots and he's 3 over, right? Like managing your way around the golf course is really, really the unhidden talent in both instruction and playing golf, right?
Totally agree.
So, you can be as perfect, on your TrackMan all day long as you want to be, but, we've all seen for years, we've seen people on the driving range, warming up for a tournament that you're like, how's this guy ever going to shoot over par? And you look at his score and he shoots 82.
Yep.
So, golf's way more than that. And I think Paul was just referring to the fact that, we're hyper-focused on the data and maybe we're forgetting some of the things that are maybe even more important.
Well, I think we ought to put BE on the assignment, being in a golf columnist and living in Florida, that he should try to get Paul on here to explain it.
I could reach out to Mr. Azinger. He's been on a couple podcasts, so it wouldn't be a stretch. But and he's a Hall of Famer for our North Florida PGA section. So
there you go. There you have it.
So
while we
are we done with the subject?
I was going to move away from the subject. I could either go to this one, Bobby, and you can throw us the teaser for tonight.
I got a good one. Yeah. Okay, so we know that this week we have the Scottish Open. Next week we have the Open Championship. The Open Championship's been around a couple of years. How long has the Scottish Open been as a tournament? Does anybody know when the Scottish Open began? What year compared to its counterpart? And if anybody knew the name of the first year of the event, that's a little hint that it might not go as far back as the Open Championship to Old Tom Norris.
Do we get a 5-year buffer?
Sure.
Okay.
I got nothing.
I'm going to guess that 1978 is my guess.
Ooh, that late.
No, much earlier than that.
I would say I was thinking more like turn of the century, like 1900 or so.
BD?
I was going to say like 1923.
This isn't Price is Right, Alan. you should have said 1901.
Actually,
all right.
Andy,
So
you just missed. You're not within the 5, but you were pretty damn close in one way. Began in 1972 as the Sunbeam Electric Scottish Open.
I just you know, I did know that like some of those events, you know, there weren't that many events, and the European Tour was not like it had its stalwart standard events, but it didn't have like a full schedule.
Yep.
So that leads it perfectly into while at the Scottish Open.
Yes.
There you go.
Mr. Rory McIlroy, it's Bombshells, 330-yard drives. This bombshell was directed towards, we'll just say, Frisco, Texas.
Yes.
Getting a lot of play on social media. I got 2 PGA golf professionals here. I got the man who loves Rory McIlroy, picks him in every tournament, and also is a big proponent of events and venues. And I believe the quote went something like this, Andy: who wouldn't want to win at Portrush? Who wouldn't want to win the Open at St. Andrews? Who wouldn't want to win the U.S. Open at Pebble Beach? Who wouldn't want to win the PGA at Frisco? Not.
He did go on and say maybe Frisco will be to that level someday.
One day.
Yeah.
You know what? Okay. I'm gonna put it out there. You got Chambers Bay, Erin Hills, Frisco. Come on. Where are other made for majors clubs that just haven't lived up to the expectation? The Olympic course in Brazil, but that barely counts.
I mean, I don't love Torrey Pines. I mean, I think it's great for the San Diego Tour event, but
well, the LA Country Club was a big letdown for a lot of people.
Big letdown.
And that's a classic, you know, a really good course.
Yep.
I think, you know, one of the things was this is a brand new facility. Yeah, brand new, and just artificially said, hey, here you go. Here's a championship. Here you go. Here's a bunch of championships. Here you go. Here's going to be future Ryder Cup and these other courses. And also, this, I've been out there. I mean, the setting, it's booming. You've got buildings left and right. You've got home development going like crazy. The wind blows in Texas. You've got dirt flying around. It's different than a Chambers Bay. It's going to be different than Erin Hills. I think those were built in these pristine situations, settings.
You could lump Kiowa into that, Bobby.
Yeah.
Basically, it was built for a Ryder Cup.
Yep. You know, and the first they made changes. They kept tweaking it there. I guess, yeah, I'm a PJ member, but it's embarrassing when you open a facility and bang, here you go. Here's 30 years of major championships. I mean, I think you need to slowly build up, slowly make sure the facility can handle it. The whole infrastructure in the area is brand new.
Right.
You know, and then the time of the year, it's hot out there. Whew. It's real hot.
You know, it's interesting though. Like, you look at the two organizations, the USGA and the PGA of America, and PGA of America changes leadership, you know, on a rolling basis, and depending on who's there, you're going to get some. Like Valhalla is another one.
Yeah.
You know, that was made for, you know, PGA events, right? But you get people who are in charge for a short period of time who make decisions that last forever. Where in some respect, and I'm half kidding, the USGA has people in charge who live forever, so they don't really change very often. But they do have a change in leadership there from time to time, and that's why the U.S. Open went to Erin Hills. That's why the U.S. Open went to Chambers Bay and Bethpage and Torrey Pines and, you know, those places that they wanted to get public access to. But I just definitely think that it's the people who are there for a short period of time who are making these decisions that, you know, may or may not be the right decisions in the long run.
I mean, the beauty of this week or next week with the Open Championship is that's where golf, that's kind of what I wrote about today, is that's where golf was born. And there's that rotation that they always talk about for the Open Championship. There's probably 20 courses that aren't in that rotation that you could throw in there and have amazing Open Championships. And that's just, I mean, that's not the case here. There's a lot of good classic courses, as we talked about before, of that golden era of design here in the United States, but it's not to the level of what we watch next week, and it'll never be to that level. So you can poo-poo on these new courses that are fantastic golf courses, and that's what I said in my article. You know, the Cabots, and Cabot has one over in was it in Scotland? I can't recall the name of the course there, but
well, they have the one in Nova Scotia,
right?
Yeah,
that's the Cliffs, correct?
Yeah,
those are those types of courses here in the United States, here in North America, that are reimaginations, Bobby, reimaginations of what was, you know, the home of golf, and trying to recreate that, but it'll never be that. And there's a lot of great courses here in the United States, but the history isn't quite what we're going to see next week.
I mean, and you made the point earlier, Brendan, there are so many over there. Like, you know, Portrush is the only Irish golf course in the rotation right now, but oh my God, there are another dozen courses over there that are just phenomenal. There's so many more in Scotland that are off the charts great. There's more in England that are great. You know, in the Southport, you know, area of England, and it is amazing. You know, the sheer number of places that you could play those events. Now, it is different, right? I mean, like it's a different production. It's a different game because the wind. I think you can get away with like courses that are maybe not 7,500 yards because of the wind. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think you're spot on,
Andy. You were going exactly where I was going to. The Masters is Masters. The PGA chooses places like Frisco. But if you compare the Open Championship, they prepare for the Open Championship, but God and Mother Nature prepares for the Open Championship.
That's the thing.
You know, you take Oakmont, you take Shinnecock, you take all these, and they're in there 2-3 years enhancing the club to make it more difficult. The expectations. Turn off the water. See then what happens if you're trying to play some of those, you know, those golf courses. Would throw some more fescue in, or let it build out, or, you know, I'd be interesting to see if we didn't have the American golf design model. And you can't do it, to Brendan's point. There's only certain locations you can do this at. I mean, Bandon Dunes is getting away with it. I mean,
Whistling Straits is too.
Right.
You need the right weather conditions, the right ground conditions,
the right turf.
Right turf.
Yeah.
And Pinehurst took that gamble a couple years ago, and that paid off. It paid off for the purists, but the casual golf fan didn't really like. If the casual golf fan had saw that at a course they play locally, or it's You know, there's barely any rough, and it's browned out around the edges. They wouldn't spend their money on a course like that.
But it's okay. As the guy that's gone down there and played it, it's the starter. Your caddy says to you on the first tee, he goes, "It's going to be hard to lose a golf ball here."
Mm-hmm. And that's
you may be hitting out of some gnarly stuff, but they're going to find it off into the natural sand areas. And the greens have been brought back in such a way that it's on steroids because they're not stimping the way Ross had designed them, but the runoff areas, collection areas, fault fronts, and you got to see that. I think Rory was on 5 or 6 where he spun it way back down the hill after it was in the middle of the green last year.
Yep.
Yeah, that would be similar to what I think you could see at an Open Championship.
But like we talked about with Erin Hills a couple weeks ago with the ladies, it seems more contrived here. Yeah. Even Pinehurst seems more contrived because it's been redesigned, and like they just redesigned Trump Turnberry, and I got to play it a couple years ago, and it's fantastic, but it doesn't look like it just got a facelift either. And admittedly, I didn't play the old one, but it just looked like it'd been there forever. And none of these crazy runoffs. And I know St. Andrews is quirky. I've been watching it on the Golf Channel the last few nights. They got some of the old, they did the Tiger David Duval one. I saw the Seve one the other night. St. Andrews is quirky, but in a much more subtle way than some of these kind of American versions of that links type golf course.
And I always have a problem. It's like nails on a chalkboard when people say, "Oh, I want to play this course," and it's in wherever USA, it's a links course, and I go, "Really? You know what a links course really is? Like it's like championship golf course. What the heck does that mean? Why not throw all these terms around that mean nothing? They don't mean anything. They don't go to the true meaning of what it is." And so, not trying to be, mean about it, but you need specific criteria if you're going to be links. And this championship thing, like every course that ever opens now, championship course.
Yeah,
just want to be legit.
I mean, we are the worst at semantics in the industry. Things we apply, an annual pass, we call it a membership. So that the person who's buying it at a, $75 greens fee public golf course, they have an annual membership. It's an annual pass. So no different than going down to your local pool. If you want to have a membership, go to Baltusrol. So links, I got one for you. Go down to Outer Banks and play the Nags Head Golf Links. That's a good links golf course. Wind's whipping off the sound down there. Or if you want to just play the wind, go out to Albemarle, Kansas, on Albemarle in Kansas, where 7,100 yards and 40-mile-an-hour winds. Never happens in Texas, does it, Ann?
Certain parts of Texas, for sure. But like Bobby, have you ever been to Highland Links in Truro on the Cape?
No.
So I think a links course, and correct me if I'm wrong, the true definition of a links course is it's a seaside golf course that has 9 holes that go out and 9 holes that come back.
Yep.
Correct?
Right. Pretty much, yeah.
And that's impractical for the way people run golf courses and golf operations anymore. It just is, right? The 9 out, the 9 back.
Yeah, that's a modern golf thing for economics and finances. Get them back to the clubhouse.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I got to sell them a $16 transfusion.
Yeah.
And that's where we as American golf have kind of cornered the market. The business side of it, the making it accessible. I mean, now in the last probably 30, 40 years, that's where we do good.
Yeah, golf cart usage. Yeah.
Yep.
Which gets back to your point about like preparing the courses for a major. Well, you know, those British courses they're prepared already, you know, versus the 2 to 3 year process of doing it here.
Yeah. Is the weather dry this summer? Okay. It's going to play fast and firm.
Yeah.
So with that said, who does everybody like this week at the Scottish?
I like Bobby Mack.
I'm going with that too. Although he's 2 under, he's 4 back. It's early.
I'm going with my DraftKings pick, Victor Perez. He shot 600 today.
Yes, he did.
Tied for 14th, Scotty Scheffler.
Ooh,
yeah, he's terrible.
So does he win next week then? If and we talked about this before.
Here comes Joe Benesh again. He beat me up all week at the course. Maverick McNeely.
Wow.
Ooh.
All week. All week I had to hear that. We were just on Maverick.
He was pumping Maverick's tires.
Yeah, you know what? He almost gets to be that. Joe? You almost end up being. Don't be that guy. We got a lot. We got a lot of things to work in. Let's start with this one.
Not this week, Joe.
All right, what you got?
You're gonna have to wait another week if you want to be. Don't be that guy, because we had the potential. Don't be that guy of the year, maybe the decade. Most of you, unless you're suspended from using your phone for social media, have seen the guy get beat up by the ex-hockey player up in Canada.
Hey.
So the guy, just to give a little context to it, the guy was hammered. They were really slow, holding up the group behind him, and the guy couldn't even put his ball on the tee. And then he starts mouthing off to this big guy behind him, who happened to be an ex-enforcer from the NHL. And the guy throws him in the lake. Then the guy gets out of the lake, and then he starts pummeling him. And every punch he hit him in the face, he made the bang sound effects. He would go bang, bang, bang. It was priceless. And then finally the guy comes at him again. He picks him up and he throws him like 20 feet in the air. But that's our don't be that guy this week.
What can we take from this, kids out there that are maybe watching? If you're going to have a beverage, realize who you're squawking at. NHL enforcers are not someone to mess with on the golf course.
We got another engaged listener with Alex here.
Alex Mello sounds about right. Well, I'm not understanding what Alex says sounds about right.
You never know, but he's engaged, and
while we wait for interpretation on that, Andy, you said you were all jacked up over Live this week. What's up?
I'm not jacked up, but I will say that I read an interesting article. Eugenio Chacarra, the Spanish kid, is playing in the Scottish Open this week. And I was trying to remember, he was out of Oklahoma State, and he basically went right to Live out of college, and they signed him. And he won a Live event his first year, and then he and
Patrick Reed.
Then they booted him out of Live. And these are his comments. He goes, he criticized the league for being about only money. He called out the league for failing to deliver on its promise to provide official world golf ranking points and access to majors. Chacarra did say he was thankful to Live for the financial security it provided him, but his goal now was to find a way to earn a PGA Tour card and to be able to see what it's like to win on the PGA Tour and how your life changes. So pretty interesting. It's kind of always what our thoughts were on that, and it's interesting to hear somebody kind of, chime in on that.
So, for those of us that are critical of us that we did not cover live, we just did. We're going to now take that off the board. Okay, we've got a few other things to talk about. We've got to work this in. Let's see. Apparently, Alex feels that, yes, do not mess with those guys who know how to fight. No doubt. Okay. Azinger, check. Rory, check. Women's Irish Open. We've got only a few minutes to chat about this, but how good is Lottie?
Yeah.
Wicked good.
But let me just say this. Remember when everybody was gushing about Rose Zhang, and she graduated, she turned pro, and she was the favorite to win the U.S. Women's Open? Where's Rose? Like, let's stop doing this. Let's stop throwing people to the top of the pile just because they've had some amateur success. And I know that's a good event she won on the Ladies European Tour, but I just think it's disrespectful to the other players out there.
Pretty strong field, Andy Heidorn.
Yeah, there are some good players. There are some good players. But again, it's like, let's not anoint these people superstars until they've had a little bit of sustained success.
Well, I don't think it's healthy either. I mean, we all know what happened to Michelle Wie when she got pushed and pushed, and she doesn't play anymore. And I know the ladies' game's different. Their careers are shorter. We've had great guests on that are LPGA Hall of Famers, and we talked about that, how it's just the game's different for the women. So maybe that's part of it when we want to try to push these girls as soon as they get out and start playing professionally. But yeah, I agree with you, Andy.
But like, where is Rose? Like, where is
she went back to school this year, from what I understand, to finish up school. So she was limited on her schedule this year because of that.
Any rumor that she's hanging out with Ogletree?
Ooh, could be.
I was gonna say, is she not even close to as retired as Lexi Thompson is?
No, that's another story.
Yeah.
It's a story for another day.
It is a story for another day. BE, shameless plug. Ryan, Golf News Network. Throw that in there. What's going on?
So yes, we are going to have our show on there. Alan, I got to talk to you after. There's a technical glitch, I think, with the Quiet Please. But I'm starting a 3-minute show with Ryan. The pilot went out yesterday on MSN and some of his other affiliates. But I'm just going to cram in every day 3 minutes of everything golf that you need to know in 3 minutes. So stay tuned for that. Tomorrow is the first official rendition of that.
Nice. Can't wait to see that.
That's a quick pace of play.
And in true fashion, outrunning his punt coverage, Joe Benesh, I'm picking up Rose. Okay. Yeah. Keep it going, Joey. Keep it going. 18th green, boys. Let's who wants it first? Bobby, you want to go first?
Sure. So interesting article this week. We got two things that we can add to this European American discussion, and I think this is rooted in American capitalism or business, and it's a fascinating read. And there's a deeper dive to it, but it was basically more American golfers drink more than the European, Scottish, English golfers, and then So golf brings everybody to drink, anyways, but the culture across the pond was more play golf, then drink. Where in America, as we saw with Andy's Don't Be That Guy, consume 10 beers a hole. That's part of the golf experience. So, maybe we can
hashtag grow the game.
Yeah. We can table this one because this is a pretty fascinating thing. But just just want to mention it's kind of sobering when you get older and you made a lot of friends in this industry or in life. And unfortunately, another friend of mine, and Andy that knew him, Alan Menny, passed away yesterday riding a bike out for a great day, just a fun day. Going to play golf in the afternoon. In an accident, passes away yesterday. So Alan's brother Bob worked for my dad, played the PGA Tour for a while. He won the 74 Kemper Open. I used Bob's 74 Kemper Open Wilson irons for a while. So I've known the Many family long time, and just sad, it's why you got to shoot for par fives and don't leave the putt short, and keep seeing more friends leaving the game.
Andy?
Yeah, I mean, that hit pretty hard too, Bob. That news. So I got two things, and I'm not really here to promote.
But go ahead.
Promote another podcast, but this Riggs versus the Haters thing is so good. On the Foreplay podcast, it is, and he did this other thing where Riggs played a guy for 25 grand in their own money. And if you want some good entertainment, go watch that on YouTube. It is fascinating. But it's a really good series, and it's all about the golf bros, shining the spotlight on the golf bros. But my last final point is, a little sobering one, but we had a horrible flash flooding incident here about 3 hours from where I'm at. And a bunch of young girl campers, went to bed and, woke up to a horrific situation, and a lot of kids and adults, passed away from a crazy, 6 inches of rain in 45 minutes caused the river to go up 25 feet, and just crazy. So it's been a rough week in Texas for a lot of people, and just want to give a little shout out to those people.
Lots of prayers. Head down to the Lone Star State. BE.
Indeed. I got two things real quick. Best wishes to Charlie Hall. It was kind of a scary circumstance. I guess she collapsed twice on the course, and she's dealing with a virus and had to withdraw from the LPGA Avion. And then this is why we support the alternate field events when there's a major championship or a big event. Up in Bobby's neck of the woods and near Louisville, PGA Tour hopeful Chan Kim got a 61. And if you don't know who Chan Kim is, I don't either. But he shot a 61 and is leading the tournament. And there's a lot of great stories. So, support that alternate field PGA Tour event this week.
Oh, don't know what happened there. Okay. I got two brief ones also. One for all the haters out there that, and all the guys that have to make the big bucks because they're the gate. The John Deere does more for the Quad Cities market, second longest running tour event. And if you watched it this week, you got to watch some exceptional golf, great theater. Our guy who's previously been on the show and was a recent article by our friend BE here, and we hope to have him back on soon. Kevin Roy, friends with our little prettiest podcaster. And he came a little short, but the guys on that in that event were just killing it. Yep. And clutch shots, drama, that is what the PGA Tour and professional golf is about. It's not about rockabilly. It's not about a lot of zeros in the bank account and playing exhibition golf. So that's my thoughts on the Quad City and Live all wrapped up into one until I bring up this. Oh, wait a minute. I'm in the... How do we do that? We got to go like this. We got to go like this.
Just use your imagination. There's a beautiful Cleveland wedge behind.
There you go. I can barely see it, but there is our giveaway. Cleveland 56 mid 10 RTZZ giveaway brought to you by our one and only BE Brendan Elliott. All you got to do to be eligible, follow us on social media, one of our social media channels, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, as well as following one of our videos on YouTube. And we'd really like you to chime in, even if you're Joe Benesh, who thinks he's at the bar with game. We don't care what you say. Just chime in. We love to laugh and chuckle about your thoughts. So on the game of golf. We're going to extend it. We're going to go one extra week. We said the contest was going to go through next week. I think we'll extend it till the 22nd. The giveaway will be done on the 22nd. We will pick our winner that night. The ever-present one, Andy Hydorn, more than likely will do it. And that's all I got. So discard that and hit that button over there.
You only have one opportunity to sell your golf property. Shouldn't you partner with an expert that offers you 30-plus years of golf industry experience, combined with the reach of a global leader in real estate? Colliers International Golf Brokerage and Advisory Services understands your unique business needs. Whether it is brokerage, management, and consulting, be reassured that the market leader in the business of golf is providing you the real answers and practical solutions you deserve. Contact Golf Talk Live co-host and Colliers Golf Advisory Services member Alan Depew today at 717-554-8519. That's 717-554-8519.